Madam Zainab was the most famous hairdresser in that small community, and her salon was always full of apprentices, girls who stayed for years despite all the endless chores she forced on them. But everything changed the day she sent 3 of them to clean her house. They didn't plan to open her bedroom door. They didn't even think anything unusual was inside, but the moment they pushed it gently and stepped in, their eyes landed on something they were never supposed to see. From the outside, you would believe she was a kind teacher. You would think she loved to train young girls. You would swear she had a heart of gold, but if you stepped inside her world, if you watched what happened before the first customer walked in, if you listened to the whispers and the quiet tears of her apprentices, you would discover a different truth entirely. Every morning, the apprentices arrived early, full of hope, ready to learn, excited to begin their journey in hairdressing. But before they could even touch a comb, Madam Zainab would hand them chores. Endless chores. Clean the mirrors, she would say, even when they were already spotless. Scrub the floor again. She would command, though you could already see your reflection on the tiles. Wash my clothes, sweep the compound, go to the market, cook for my children, tidy my room upstairs. The girls would run up and down until their legs felt weak, yet she acted as if they had done nothing. And when they tried to learn something, when they picked a comb to part a customer's hair or took a small step to practice, Zainab shut them down immediately. Drop that, she would snap. You're not ready. You will ruin my customer's hair. Day after day, this became their life. Little learning, plenty of work, plenty of scolding. But here is the part that troubled Zainab deeply. No matter how she tried to hide the apprentices' potential, customers still noticed them. One customer would say, "This girl's hands are gentle. I like her touch." Another would smile and say, "Why don't you let this apprentice attend to me? She seems gifted." To the customers, these were harmless compliments, but to Madam Zainab, every word felt like a threat. At first, she pretended not to care, she forced a smile on her face, she thanked the customers politely, but inside her, something dark began to stir. She started watching the apprentices closely, not with pride, but with fear. She counted how many times a customer praised them, she noticed the way customers looked at them. She saw how quickly they learned whenever they touched even a small section of hair. And the more she noticed, the more afraid she became. What if they finish learning and open their own shops? She wondered, what if they take my customers? What if I become irrelevant? What if? What if? Fear grew inside her like a shadow, slowly covering her heart. But the day everything changed, the day her fear took over, was the day Mrs. Pamela called. Mrs. Pamela was a wealthy woman with influence in the community. Her voice was cheerful when she spoke on the phone. "Madam Zainab, please send your apprentice Chiamaka for home service. She braided my friend's hair last week, and we love her work." Zainab felt her stomach tighten. She quickly replied, "Ma, I am available. I can come myself." But the woman insisted gently, "No, madam. We really want Chiamaka. Her hands are neat and careful." Zainab swallowed hard. She pushed again. "I can handle it. I'm free today." But the woman repeated firmly, "Please send the girl. We prefer her." Those words, "we prefer her." They entered Zainab's heart like a knife. She ended the call slowly and turned to look at Chiamaka, a young girl who didn't even know she had caused a storm. All day, Zainab couldn't concentrate. Her hands shook, her mind raced. Her fear grew stronger than it had ever been. That night, she could not sleep. Every time she closed her eyes, she heard the customer's words again and again, "We prefer Chiamaka. We prefer Chiamaka." By morning, she was overwhelmed. She needed to talk to someone. She needed to release the fear boiling inside her. So she went to her friend, her landlady, simply to complain, to seek comfort, to hear advice. She did not know that the landlady had something else entirely. Something she wasn't expecting. Something that would change the fate of every apprentice who ever walked into her salon. She didn't go looking for anything strange. She didn't expect charm. She didn't expect a solution beyond ordinary advice. All she wanted was someone to talk to. Someone older. Someone who would understand how a business owner felt when competition grew closer every day. When she got to the house, the landlady opened the door with her usual knowing smile. "You look troubled," she said simply. Zainab nodded. "I just need to talk." The landlady led her inside and sat with her. Zainab explained everything, not with tears, not with drama, but with frustration. She talked about how the apprentices were getting too good, how customers requested them more often, how she feared losing her clients, how she felt the apprentices were rising faster than they should. The landlady listened quietly, not interrupting once. When Zainab finished, the older woman folded her hands on her lap and spoke calmly. "Come back tomorrow morning." Zainab was confused. "Why? What do you want to give me?" "Just come," the landlady answered. There was no explanation, no hint of anything unusual, only that short instruction. Zainab left the house still upset, but slightly relieved that at least she had talked to someone. The next morning, she returned. The landlady was already waiting, sitting beside a small covered tray on her table. When Zainab entered, she motioned for her to sit. She lifted the cloth and revealed a small black clay pot, old and dull, with faint markings around its body. Zainab's eyes widened. "What is this?" The landlady rested her hand gently on the pot. "This," she said quietly, "will keep your apprentices tied to you." Zainab blinked, shocked. "Tied to me? I don't understand." The landlady explained in a steady voice, "As long as their names touch this pot, they will not leave your salon before you want them to. They will keep returning every day. They will stay for years without realizing how time is passing. Even if they grow tired, something will pull them back." Zainab stared at the pot, her breath caught in her chest. She hadn't asked for this, she hadn't expected anything like it, she had only wanted advice. A listening ear. Maybe encouragement. But the landlady continued, "Whenever you accept a new apprentice, give them a form. Let them write their full name. You can collect money if you want, it will not look suspicious. When you get home, drop the paper inside this pot." Zainab swallowed. "And that's all?" "That's all." She hesitated, unsure if she should touch it or run away from it. The landlady leaned closer. "You said you're afraid of losing your customers. You said these girls are rising too fast. This is the only way to hold them down." There was silence, a long, heavy silence. Zainab looked at the pot again. She thought of the apprentices she had trained in the past. The ones who left and opened small shops, the ones customers sometimes mentioned with praise. She thought of how quickly these new girls were learning, how customers were requesting them, how the world was changing, how she feared becoming irrelevant. Without saying a word, she reached forward and touched the pot. It was cold, too cold. She lifted it slowly, and in that quiet moment, a decision was made, one she didn't fully understand, one she would later regret, but one she felt she needed to make. She took the pot home, and that was the beginning, not of madness, not of cruelty, but of a silent, invisible chain that would hold many young girls in one place without them ever realizing why.